Opinions expressed in this program are those of the program's host and guests, and not necessarily those of WSTU management, staff, or sponsors. WSTU does not endorse any product mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's now time for Leadership in Business, brought to you by John Campion of European Kitchen and Bath. Call in with questions and comments. 220-9788. 220. Opinions expressed in this program.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
All right, there he is.
Well, there, Ed McMahon introducing me again. He's otherwise known as Big Frank Mezzapel, world famous.
You're right.
Thank you, Frank.
Right.
John
You're
Campion
welcome.
here from European Kitchen and Bath, and we're here with our weekly show.
Mhm.
Having a good time, really,
Yes.
is what we do.
Mhm,
And we've got a really nice guest, really great guest, one of my favorite people tonight, Ron Mraz from Magic Bubbles.
Right.
Welcome, Ron.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Frank. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great.
Man, we as soon as I saw Frank perk up when the the stuff started to come on, and
Oh, yeah.
then you started talking about the space
Oh,
program,
sure.
and
Yeah. The
all you got to
radar,
do now is throw the Detroit Tigers in
Oh,
there
yeah,
with
right.
the
spring training.
spring training and
sure.
paychecks and stuff like that.
Nice.
Black licorice.
Oh, yeah.
It's a life of extreme fun
Well,
here.
you're not allowed to chew tobacco, so they
No.
they eat the
That where that came from?
Sure. Yeah, you
You're
can
no longer allowed to chew tobacco where?
at the ballpark if you're a
Ah.
ball player.
Really?
Wow.
MLB said,
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, no more of that stuff in your cheek.
Well,
So you can smoke pot, but you can't
Yeah.
chew
yeah,
tobacco.
yeah, please, and particularly if it's
Wow,
medicinal.
man.
Yeah. Wow,
That
nice
was-
hit.
That was fast.
You should have
man.
seen that thing going. That's good, Frank.
I see the trails.
Yeah.
You guys got some good stuff. Well, welcome everyone.
Yes.
Welcome Martin County, and another beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Man, I'll say, yeah. I mean, they're getting hammered up north right now.
Are they? I don't
snow and rain and
I think it depends
Yeah,
where you
people-
are. I talked to my mom and dad, or
Mhm.
Columbus, or I'm sorry, Philadelphia, and
Okay. Well,
They
60s.
moved on you since you were there, Ron.
Wife's family is in Columbus. 60s yesterday, 70s
Right.
today, but rainy, drizzly. But I know
tell them
up
it's coming.
west, it's
Yes.
cold and snow and
But it
craziness.
kind of blows from west to east, so chances
always
are
then.
they're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
You know, my best buddy up in Michigan, because you're not up there, Frank.
That's correct.
It lives in the area I grew up, which was Western Michigan on Lake Michigan there, and he said they've played golf every month this year.
Wow.
And they get that lake effect.
Sure,
So
they do.
he's not playing in the snow.
He's not because I know they make the colored balls for when it's snow conditions.
Yeah, well, they don't need to do that. They just get out there and play for fun.
I don't know. I had
Yeah.
the 50-degree rule, so if it was
Oh,
above 50, we were good to go.
well, down here it's about 50 or 60.
Yeah.
I used to play when it was cold, and when it was like, I remember we used to play if it was above freezing back in Michigan.
That's
and
too cool.
they wouldn't let us go out until the greens weren't frozen anymore, which might take a while on the back nine. But
Well, you could slide the balls to the hole, right?
well, that's a good way to learn how to putt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's illegal. Well, anyways, we've got Ron here, and Ron's got a very interesting business.
He
He
does.
met him through one of our business groups that I'm in still, and we're all still in having a good time. And
Mhm.
referrals are strong, and your business is picked up. You basically cover from part of northern
Yeah.
Palm Beach County.
Northern Palm Beach County, so Tequesta, Jupiter Farms, and north to Palm Beach, or including Martin County and St. Lucie County.
Okay. And, if you've ever seen his truck, it's one of those things you're going to do a double take because it's really cool. It's what I think, particularly when you first introduced it to it, was state of the art. and still is.
Absolutely.
And I remember my first time I used his company. I was so blown away by how they, oh yeah, they, what do you guys do? You use Google to look at the
Yeah.
something
So,
like that.
and it's one of the things I love about John is he always is talking me up because of this fact. But we you call our office.
We quit doing it.
we call. You call our office. We look at Google or we use a property appraiser's website. We figure out what you got going on at your house, and based on that and the experience that we had in the past, we can give you a quick quote. And we show up, we do the work, and you can pay online. So if you want, I joke that if you don't want to see us, you don't have to, because we don't come in your house. We just get there, we get it done, and we get out.
You can kind of smell somebody was there and go back and see if the bushes are alive. That's what my wife does.
All right.
And it all turns out pretty good.
Then we always leave them alive.
Yeah, we always leave them alive.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. But when it all first started, I was like swinging from the. I thought it was great. So anything you can do to utilize technology and run your business and be successful. You've built it. What have you been doing this like 5 years now?
Yeah, since I started the business in March of 2017.
Okay.
Introduced to you and John Magnan shortly thereafter. And
lawyer's always a good guy to suck up to.
Right.
And have been up here in Martin County ever since, and going strong. Added a truck a few years after I started.
So you got your second truck.
So we got 2 trucks on the road now, and
I know employees got to be easy to find. That's
employees
one
are
we're talking about.
super easy to find. I'm rolling my eyes for those of you who can't see me.
Yeah. Well, they can see you. We got you right on camera.
It's funny because when I first started the business, I had a good group of guys that were steady. They were reliable people, and like any human, they had some issues, and we dealt with those. But they were always there. They did the work. They got it done, and through nothing other than those folks wanting to move on.
Right.
Some of them moved on to different things that they wanted to try and do. The grass is always greener kind of thing.
COVID happened.
Yeah. And then since COVID happened, it's been hell, honestly, to find and keep good people. Now I got a few guys on my crew that are super reliable. They've been with me. They're still here. But I've run through a lot of people that have just made me crazy. So.
Well, we did a really great piece. I always talk about it. We did a great piece where Frank he's always finding this stuff. He keeps me alive. But it was a piece by Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs.
Yep.
And he was being interviewed, and he was talking about what was the 11 million people who disappeared.
Yeah.
During COVID.
Yeah.
And he talked about how out of every 5 people, 3 dropped out and went away.
Yeah.
So, if you start running that through all your stats and you sit around and, whether you're at a board meeting and people are talking about that, or you're in some type of meeting where you're talking about growing your business or how, it's the discussion. So,
how do you find people,
and keep them And so by having our, you have a business that, let's say basically they're the company itself is only located in Florida, which is a smart move. And the fact that we as business people, 98% of all the businesses in the US are small businesses, and that can be qualified as under 100 people. But, we know everybody we know who owns businesses here, and we know at least 50 people, let's say in our business group. How many people have more than 9? Not a lot.
No, not many.
No. And, unless you have a air conditioning business, a big air conditioning business, how many trucks you got, and support staff inside and this and that. I mean, I have basically 9, possibly 10, if you throw Dee and I in there, between both locations of my stores and Stewart and Vero. And oh, that's me. Whoops, I'm sorry.
That's me. Who's making that noise, John?
Well, our speaker today has a pretty good size operation, and he doesn't have 100 employees.
Right. No, I don't. And I have 6 and 3 and a pink message thing. Stop.
But yeah,
I
yeah.
apologize.
It's a time to
everybody.
start or stop. You know?
You're talking about Jeff Endress, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's got a pretty good size operation, and I don't think he has any.
Yeah,
I don't
and-
even think he has 50 employees.
And Jeff is Molly made, and
Yep.
he has at least 30 plus cleaners
Mm-hmm.
because he's got 30 cars,
Is he got-
Yeah.
and he
Well,
assigned
he must have. There's
two.
two in each
No, I didn't.
vehicle.
I don't think
Yeah.
he has that many cars, does he?
I think he has 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So close to. He must have at least 60.
We could have
employees.
a contest and say, okay, guess how many cars are in here in this bottle.
There you go.
But you know,
So I saw one of his cars parked out front this morning in front of Flagler.
beautiful,
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
catchy.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
know, so he's spending the money. They're spending the money. They're, if you can reinvest in your company, that's good. Like at our business,
Mhm.
try to keep the showrooms relevant. So when people go in there, they're not seeing like old dusty stuff.
Right.
And
We should talk about your showroom
well,
specifically.
just because you've been hanging out there, Frank.
Well,
Pittance for the poor.
hell,
No.
helping to make the magic happen over at European Kitchen
Well,
and Bath.
there's a lot going on behind those walls. People look at that building and go, yeah, and of
And they
course,
come in, but you see them do all the ooh and ah when they walk in
yeah,
the door.
no, it's it's a busy place.
Yeah.
We've that was the big thing, Ron, that I was looking at to see every year when we come out of the end of the year into the new year. I mean, one year we're like, oh well, this will be a bad. Well, the thing never slowed down, and
Yeah.
this year it's been a little bit different because of what's going on in the economy.
Mhm.
A lot of people will say, "Oh, we're busy as hell." Well, you know what? Come on, don't BS me. I mean, we're busy as heck too because you're busy doing other things.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that we are, trying to build that business. And when you have people walking in, new customers and referral customers,
Mhm.
and just keeping the doors swinging, you're wondering what's going on at the other guys. Whoever they are.
Mhm.
And so 30 years in business helps, and that's what we are down here. So Frank knows what was going on over there before I ever did. That's why I have him come over and tell me, what was Dad doing back then? Tell me, what were Mom and Dad doing? So
Yeah.
Well, he was doing the scratch and dents. You're doing the more highbrow stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have used the reference of, you see all that slat wall on the wall? Picture all those slat walls covered with a sink.
Yeah.
That was my dad.
And that's what's in the back room, right?
Well,
Yeah.
almost out the back door. So,
Yeah.
Oh, you're moving it out. Good.
yeah. It's only taken 20 years, but no, it's always been a niche business, and you can decide how you want to do it. I just don't want to be an outlet.
Yeah.
Some people think outlets are good, but we have areas of our market where people aren't very fond of outlets. They want to be shopping at a nice decorative
Right.
bath. And
And you notice when people came in while I was there working, I'm listening to some of the Q&A, and the customers would come in and they want to know, how many years have you been there? And what they're really asking you, the words not spoken, is, are you going to be here to service me after the sale?
Yeah.
It's the unspoken
in
words.
2 years you'll be. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's really, because I had the very same conversations, because 40 years ago this year I started my shop.
yeah.
Right. And so customers would come in, and how many years have you been open? What have you been doing? And and of course it got easier and easier when I was there for 30 years. But initially it's tough when you still know if you know your stuff and you're still new, and you haven't proven yourself yet.
Well,
That's true in my business as well. I mean, people ask those questions, and I think you're right. They're getting at, are you going to be around? Are you going to take care of me?
Right.
And that's, it's great. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that do pressure cleaning, but they show up in an unmarked truck and an unmarked trailer.
Mhm.
And, I'm sure they do a great job, and
Right.
they have their customers at heart and want to make sure they get it right. But are they going to be there after the fact? Is there a
Service the
number to
sale.
call?
Well, see, I
Right,
think
and
your truck shows a commitment.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah, I'm just driving around in this $190 million truck for kicks and giggles. And I see those type customers or job owners you're talking about, and I wonder about that a lot. You know, I go, you could have at least painted something that looks like something real on the
Yeah,
trailer.
it's interesting too because I always use this example. I was over in Trey Bell, and we do their sidewalks annually. And there was a guy in there in one of those trailers, and he was working on a house, and my crew, 3 people, did this whole street that he was on, sidewalks both sides, swales both sides, and he was there before we started that street, and he was there after we finished that street. So we were able to get through that whole thing, do all the sidewalks, and this one guy's doing one job. Now, again, to the fact that is he doing it right and he's doing a good job? Yes, but he's by himself and he's at your house all day long, where I got a crew of 3, professional equipment, and we can get in and out and
sure,
professional job.
Now you've had several jobs working your way into this. So you think back to some of the stuff you were doing with menu boards or, I think back, when you think back to what we did before, and of course I was given my first 2 jobs. Someone gave me my 3rd and I bought my 4th. So what the hell? I'm not, but in the end, I'm an honest John never lies, I mean, really. So, let me ask you this. What did you learn from your previous employment that really helped carry you to begin this business and, be successful?
I think and this starts when I was a kid. My father and his 2 brothers owned an Arco gas station in Philadelphia, Thompson, Westmoreland, in northeast Philadelphia. And at the time, Arco Gas, Service Center, they were a franchise.
Ding, ding.
But at that point, Arco was paying their people who had their sign, paying them. Now that's reversed.
Right.
I own Magic Bubbles, but I pay a little fee. You own an Arco
somebody
station.
Figured that out.
Yeah, right. That flipped over time. But what? So I just got there when they were still kind of raising the hood and checking the oil and washing the windows.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I learned is customer service. And I think throughout my entire career, everywhere I've been, that has stuck with me. So if you're treating the customer right, and you can talk to the customer and you're personable with the customer, it's half the battle.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And if you can make that happen, it doesn't matter what you do.
It's about relationships.
Yeah, it's about relationships.
Yeah.
And again, that circles back to what we were talking about earlier, is that those folks are asking questions. How long have you been around? What do you do? Are you going to be here when I need when there's a problem? Because problems happen.
Sure.
If you can fix the problem, then the customer's happy.
We know that.
Yeah.
When Frank was over helping us move some displays a week before these guys were coming down to install this fancy pants display we have in there, and
with the interactive screen.
Screen.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
And what was nice was he had this friend had this friend come who works builds cabinets, I think.
Chris, professional cabinet maker.
And so anyways, we made the comment halfway through the remodel saying, any remodel you do, you never know what's behind it. And this was something that we had just mounted to the wall, and we had some things we had to deal with. So it was like, I think we got Chris and Frank to figure this out.
To make it all level and plumb, right?
Well, he learned how not to stick your finger in an electrical outlet.
That's something I learned in high school. It was a very embarrassing moment, but
well, at least we knew the outlet was working, because they were going to be using that when they put this thing together. But I mean, I listen. There's some of my salespeople I can listen to, and I'm always waiting for that, that personal thing saying, oh yeah, well, that's our owner. And a lot of times they don't like to introduce me because I scare the customers away. Let me go back here. But, it's very important that, I've had many of them come up to me and say, you got to really, these people are great, and you do this and that. And it's nice when you're getting those positive strokes. And in particular, I always say, when I can, I always tell them thank you for coming and shopping with us. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah. When we didn't mention it earlier, but I have a membership program. And one of the first things I say every time I go to my members is thanks for being a member.
Yeah.
And it's just a little extra to say, we appreciate your business. And that's another thing I say after the job. It's like, thanks for your business. And it's they may be paying me for a $95 driveway. It doesn't matter. They took the time to call us and get us out there. And we appreciate that.
So when we're in here talking, we've talked to quite a few different people on, small business, what it means to the community. I just, this was the perfect community to fall into, to let that be important, because when people are talking to us about this or that, and that we say, well, that's why you're here supporting us and keeping us in business, because if you lose us, because our business is messy. You have plumbers there are some plumbers who are good at putting toilets in.
Yeah.
And there are some plumbers who are good at putting thermostatic valves in the wall. So, they can pick their poison, who they want to assign. And, what do you mean you forgot the wax ring? I'm just,
whoops.
I had a lady come in today, said her Toto toilet was just really loud. You get these, people who are expecting, I don't know what they're expecting. I said, well, you mean, has it started frying the egg for you yet? Sorry, ma'am. I'm not trying to be facetious.
Which is why they don't put you in front of customers.
That's true. That's exactly
It's all coming clear to us.
Yes. Yes. That's very true. It's very true. Oh, Frank, what am I going to do with him? No, it's good. No, and I got to say, all my business friends know how to pick on me. If you can dish it out, you got to be able to take it.
I was just going to say, when you start it, you need to be able to.
That's it. That's me.
Well, you've been in a locker room before. That's locker room conversation.
Yeah, just
right?
turn your head and cough, baby. That's what it's all about. If you need me to elaborate on that.
No, please don't.
Okay. All right. Yeah. 9th grade basketball. Gotcha.
Ooh.
We're going to take a break, Frank?
I think so. It's about that time.
Okay. So we are going to take a break, and we will be right back. John Campion with Frank Mezzapel and Ron Roz from Magic Bubbles. We'll talk to you in a moment.
All right.
Tiny bubbles
quite magic bubbles, but it's close.
Yeah, but Ron, you got a great voice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, give him a ukulele. I bet you he can do this song.
I'll give it a shot. You may not have any listeners after I'm done, but I'll give it a shot.
We can afford to gain listeners.
I make tiny bubbles. I make big bubbles too, but I make
There
tiny.
you go. There you go.
So, what's
Well
your
done.
favorite tool to use on the big ship?
Interesting. The newest tool I have was we had a customer call us because they were doing work in the neighborhood. They were redoing the streets. They're putting tar down.
Oh,
And the guys were supposed to be directing traffic and maybe weren't. And some of the people drove on the new tar into their driveways. And those companies have chemicals that can take that off if they catch it right away. But if they don't, the chemicals don't work. So I bought this tool that lets me do wet sandblasting. So you put this thing in a bucket and it siphons up the sand out of it. And it was the coolest thing because it goes through sand like crazy.
Oh,
but it would get rid of the thing.
Oh, God, it cleaned it right up. And it
You're like
was a
going,
great
"Oh,
gig." So I was like,
oh,
I got paid good money and I got a new tool to play with. And so that was fun.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Well, yeah, wherever he goes, he's got the toy.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what the favorite is. It's
Well,
the
it's-
tools that get me that get the job done.
So you, when you're doing roofs now, are
Mhm.
we using just the chemical that makes the stuff go away?
Yeah, so we do low pressure or no pressure is how you hear it described. It's basically a chemical wash. So it's a mix of sodium hypochlorite, which is the fancy name for bleach, and water. We spray that on. It's a very light mist, enough to get the surface wet. And what the bleach does is it breaks down cell walls in living organisms. And when those cell walls break down, it releases from whatever it's attached to. So it works great for spider webs and algae and mold and things like that. So that's what we use on roofs.
Okay.
Rare occasions, I have some customers that don't want any chemicals used, and we'll either use a wand or if it's the right kind of tile roof, so flat tile roof is preferable, we can take our surface cleaner up there. But I caution those customers that the reason they stop doing that, twofold. One, heavy equipment up on a roof, it's dangerous. It's also bad for the roof because high pressure on the roof rattles the tiles, can crack tiles. And then it's the chemicals do such a great job of getting rid of what's growing up there that it doesn't have an opportunity to come back right away. With water and high pressure, you just miss stuff, and that's where it starts growing again.
Right. And the thing about chemicals that customers have to be made aware of is they have a short life. So the chemicals work, the sun hits them, and then they stop working.
Yeah.
So so you have that active time, and then it's inert.
Yeah.
And then that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cliff Clavin.
Yes.
Yeah, the chlorine, is not stable
Right.
in anything other than a gas.
Mhm.
So they make it stable, and I forget the process, but if you don't rinse windows well enough, you'll notice this. You'll see white spotting.
Right.
That's the
salt.
solids that are
That's
left
the
behind.
salt, actually.
Yeah. And so anyway, that gets rinsed away.
Mhm.
But that's what also can damage plants and things like that. So you tarp, we rinse well enough, those don't become issues.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I know that, when we see the neighborhood Gestapo come around and then we get the letter,
Oh, yeah.
recently when we got that, my wife had like this big tree over on that one side of our house where that was really, we thought that was the only place the roof was dirty.
Yeah.
But only my roof guy knows for sure.
Mm.
People want to get partial roof cleanings, which I understand why, and I don't blame them. But the reason I try to steer people away from that is not to make an extra buck. It's you're going to look at the roof and call me back and say, come back and do it again.
Right.
Because once you see the difference, even if you think it looks clean, it's not.
Yeah, that's where when I put my mask on and my COVID mask and I go, everyone's an expert. Right?
Yes.
That's what it is. That's what it is. No, it's crazy. We so I can see that We have 3 areas of concern at our house, like, with all your customers that, why some get grimier than others. And, with the barrel roofs like we have now, when you get up there, is there a chance that you're going to get, if, people aren't up on their roof and then you see all these broken tiles and you let them know that there's a lot of.
I get a lot of requests for people that ask us, hey, if you see any broken tiles, and I kind of like, okay,
Yeah, right.
But it's believe it or not, unless your roof is fairly new, it's somewhat common to have like hairline cracks in tiles. They especially in barrel tiles at the top of the crest,
the crown,
it develops a hairline crack. What also happens is that in the valleys, it's just a weird place to have those stiff concrete tiles, and the guys installing them cut them to make that fit. So those are not necessarily positioned exactly correct. And then the other thing that happens over time is your house settles. And because of that, the roof and the tiles separate. The tiles are rigid together and they're built together. So a gap can develop underneath the tile. And
that's
so if you step on it, well, no, not water.
No.
If you step on it in that spot, you could crack the tile because there's room for that tile to move. So it's potential. And I have fixed tiles before. They make a special glue for it, and you can fix tiles. So
give me the glue.
Happy to do that for folks if they ask. But for the most part, you'll see minor chips, those hairline cracks we talked about, but coconuts hit rooftops, branches hit rooftops all the time.
Well, those tile roofs, the real roof is underneath that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the tile is actually a decorative element.
I never realized that.
And that's
first few years.
Yeah, the tile is, or any roof material, whether it's asphalt, metal, tile, is there to protect the underlayment, and the underlayment is what's keeping your house dry. So as long as that underlayment is intact and stays intact, it's not really a problem with water.
Well, I recently, because we had a lot of people getting roofs replaced in our neighborhood, and my neighborhood's basically 20 years old, and I called our roofer friend, and they did I think they did a Google buy, which was fine. Gave me a price, and I thought that there was a lot of contractors steaming through our neighborhood back in the day saying, oh yeah, you need to get your roof. I didn't trust any of those guys.
Yeah.
And still don't. But you can't replace your roof for insurance unless you want to replace your roof, and you have to pay for it.
Right.
And that's what I found out. And I wasn't ready to,
shell out $40,000.
Oh, that would have been nice. But, you look up and I don't have any leaks in the house. So, I don't know. Part of home ownership.
Yes.
Yeah. My neighborhood, every once in a while, I'll get a knock on the door. So one, I live in a gated community, like lots of folks.
No soliciting.
No soliciting. So my first thing is, thanks for stopping by, and you're not supposed to solicit here. But a lot of them are, hey, we're doing Mr. Smith's roof down the street, and we just wanted to give you a free estimate. And I'm like, yeah, no, thank you.
No, here's my card.
Right.
Get lost.
Right. Go away. So it's interesting that they do that, and then that they think they can, get away with it.
So the other question is, when we talk about small business, particularly in the Treasure Coast, so it's you and maybe one or two other people who are working for I don't want to call it, I call it legitimate. I mean, you're legitimate, you're jit, as my kids would say. You're jit, Dad. Legitimate with your business. Now, I'm not saying the guy's pulling the trailer. And I apologize to anybody out there. I'm not downplaying how your job and how hard you work to make a buck and to satisfy your customers. But
yeah, I wouldn't say that they're not legitimate. I'm sure they have their business license and insurance and everything. I think the difference is what we talked about before. There's no name on their side of their truck, or if there is, it's hard to see. And all that does is, from a perception perspective, are they going to be there when I need them?
Yeah.
So if I have them out today, will they be there tomorrow if
Sure.
something goes wrong? Or, if I call them and they agree to come out, will they show up? And so there's no,
there you go.
I guess the thing is there's no throat to choke, if you want to use
Yeah,
that.
and packing your own chute.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Wow.
so I like you said, I don't, those guys do great work, and
Well,
they're out there busting their butt and trying to get
working
their
hard.
butt. Yeah.
Working hard. Everybody can't find the right help or enough help.
Yeah.
Right.
And then,
Or they're comfortable doing what they're doing, or, it's interesting. It's, firemen do the part-time,
Yes. I
pressure
grew up
cleaning gig.
before the pressure cleaning gig. I mean, I grew up in a world where firemen were part-time painters.
Yeah. And I
That was a big part of their off-duty recreation.
And I know a guy
for income
down in northern Palm Beach County operates similar truck to mine. A firefighter. He owns half the business. The guy that operates the truck owns the other half of the business, and they do strictly commercial work. So,
okay.
And he's got a good gig going. And
Sure.
has
Well,
a
I
couple
guess there's
employees.
plenty of work out there for everybody in a way, to a point.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny with pressure cleaning. It's very seasonal for smaller operators, and in the in season,
Right.
so, the October time frame is
Right.
they come out of the woodwork, and along Indiantown Road is just the crazy thoroughfare
Mhm.
between 95 and
Mhm.
the island.
Mhm.
And it's crazy for a lot of reasons, but there's a couple places where you can get the chlorine you need and all this stuff. So it's just crazy over there with that.
Right.
Yeah, supplies. So how much have the product is, your chemicals and everything have skyrocketed?
So my chemical costs have almost doubled, and which is just crazy to think about, because for the first 4 years of my business, it was very stable price. And then fuel cost is a little bit different. It's been up and down over time, but it's been
diesel?
elevated no, I don't fortunately do diesel. There's probably some trade-offs there, but we do gas. So it's, the trucks are gas and all the equipment is gas as well.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I got this last quote, I was like a little bit, clutching my heart.
I took care of you as much.
You did. I mean, it was all but it was all legit. It was all legit. It was jit, Dad.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and then I think I even said to you, and I said to the young lady who, whatever, I don't know, I might have talked to her when I paid, because she's always very pleasant. But whatever young lady I talked to.
Michelle, if you paid over.
Okay. Okay.
Michelle.
So, it's, what are you going to do?
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
And
You and I aren't going to crawl up on a roof.
no,
Forget about it.
running a business and having
Yeah.
your costs go up,
Yeah.
it was funny today. I heard one of my salespeople say to a lady, and they have it in stock up in New Jersey. And I'm going, see, supply chain's back.
Right. Hey, we're going to take our last break, but when we come back, I'm going to ask you a question about restaurant hoods. Do you clean those? So we'll find out when we
That's a
come
quick
back.
answer.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back.
All right. So stick with us. Find out if your restaurant could get cleaned up too. We'll be right back.
Everything in the one unit, and that is known as show business.
We're back.
You never know what you got up your sleeve, Frank.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
So
give Rocky
hey,
a
to
break.
answer your question that you asked earlier before we went on air, 273 is Willie Horton's lifetime average.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
under 300.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Now I'll be able to fall asleep tonight.
So before
You
we
remembered
went-
you asked? No, I'm kidding.
No, we couldn't find it the other day.
No, because I asked, Google is very linear. If you don't ask the question exactly the right way, you won't get the answer.
So you didn't try Chat GPT?
No, I did that once, so I asked Chat GPT, how come they're not using a voice? If it's chat, why not the audio? They said, well, we don't offer audio, but we hope to be doing that one day soon. So audio
It's still young.
It's coming.
It's interesting because
but they say there's actually an interface you can actually network it with and on the user end to make it work.
Yeah.
So, but I think they're going to ultimately.
If Frank can't answer this, talk to Eric Keene at CNW.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Eric.
He was talking. We were talking about that in our Guppy. I call them the Guppy, our CEO group.
Yes,
the Guppies, because the other CEO group I'm in is a bunch of sharks.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh.
These guys,
keep that in mind.
the Guppies are easy, Ron.
Yeah, the other guys put you to work.
The other guys challenge you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So do you clean restaurant hoods?
No.
Okay.
The short answer is no. So do we clean restaurants? Yes, but only exterior.
Yes. Well, the hoods are on the outside. They actually take it apart, have it in the parking lot, and they pressure clean it.
So I've seen it done before, and I know they do work on the inside too.
That part I'm not aware of. But I've seen the outside work done. So I know when they were here, because they had the equipment set up in the parking lot, they pull it all apart and, take it down off the roof, lay it down in the parking lot. And there's a lot of cleaning to be done.
I've never heard of that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
When I saw it done, and I knew those guys were out there, and I've actually talked to a few of them, but I saw it done once, and they were in a restaurant. It was like a gas station / restaurant.
Right.
And they were tarping everything off around the hood. So I guess they were getting ready to spray, because there is inside components that can't come out. So but it seems like the folks I've talked to about a very messy gig. So
it is. From what and it looked like it definitely needed it.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, you got to clean those filters. That's number one.
Right.
And that's real easy not to do. And then you got to keep your fan clean.
Yeah.
And what they might have been tarping too was, there's components that could spray inside the restaurant.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
But,
it was just right above the grill, so I'm assuming you don't want any of that stuff anywhere
on the grill.
On the grill,
right?
As long as you got somebody down there cleaning it.
And, so we don't do any work inside,
That's
and
smart.
I'm happy about that. I had one customer when I first started. She's like, "Can you please do some windows on the inside?" And I was like, "No." And then she kept insisting, and she only has a robe on, right? And I'm like, I really don't want to do this. And it's like, no.
Was she hot, Ron?
No, I don't know.
No.
Okay. Never looked up past her toes.
Exactly.
That's funny.
I had one of those. I was so glad I went to do a blind installation, and it was a pretty good sized job. And my teenage daughter at the time, I said, "You're going to help Dad." So I took her out to the job with me, and this lady came to the door, and I said, "Okay, my daughter and I are going to unload the car, and while we're doing that, you're going to dress more appropriately. Thank you."
Wow.
Yeah. So
what a good Catholic dad you are.
Right. So whoosh. Good.
I probably never noticed that was happening. I was so ignorant.
Right.
Of course.
Me.
I was really
Simple
blessed.
job.
I just happened. It was the only time all the years I did blind jobs, it was the only time I had kind of a hinky situation. And I'm just blessed that my daughter happened to be with me that day.
They're out there. They're out there.
Yeah.
Those, whatever they are.
Yeah.
I was at the Mardi Gras over the weekend with my wife. And
how was that?
Nice. I mean, I spent money, so I guess.
Oh, they love that.
Yes.
You should get a thank you card.
A few of those, Frank.
Yeah.
Situations.
Righto. Well, so that.
Amazing.
Well, there's a lot going on this time of year. It's just every year I've been here 20. forget about how great this time of the year is.
Right.
And I think it's pretty good right up till what, May?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, good.
Well, of course, Lent starts today.
Yes,
Yesterday was
yes.
Fat Tuesday, and so I took advantage of Fat Tuesday. I loaded up on all your pizza. So
Yeah, those the
Oh, you had the
Italian
installation
pancake,
pizza?
the Italian pancake for Shrove
Right.
Tuesday.
whoa. So
Yeah,
that
and,
was great.
and-
But yeah, so between now and 40 days from now, when Easter comes, this will be the crescendo of our season, I think.
Well, every year is different.
Yes.
That's for sure. Like tomorrow, I'll be up at my Vero store, and I
Mhm.
can't wait to see and hear what's going on up there.
Say hi to them for me.
I will.
I like your staff. out
That's
there. It's
right.
very
We
nice.
went and
Mhm.
stopped in there. We went up to see fantasy Detroit Tigers
Oh.
baseball game.
Nice.
Yeah, the coach was 89 years old. He used to pitch for the Tigers.
Did he toss it to you?
Frank was ready to go in and
I-
relief pitch the pitcher.
I was watching this. The guy you'd hear him go, oof, every time he threw a ball.
Oh, yeah.
It was
It's
like,
an effort.
it was
Well,
an effort.
the coolest part about this fantasy camp is they have pinch runners for you.
Oh, really?
So like I could bat
Yeah.
and not have to run.
No, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I almost, made me want to
Yeah. Next year, you and I are going to sign up.
hobble out there
There you
and
go. Swing the bat.
yeah, just swing the bat, swing the golf club, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I will tell you that if you ever get an opportunity to go tour the Vero Beach, what do they call that up there now? Holman Field.
Holman Field. That's right. Mhm, the Dodger Town.
where Dodgers played.
Uh-huh.
And I was
It's a
telling
wonderful
somebody
facility.
at my location today that when we first opened up there, they were still here.
Yes. the
And so you
Dodgers,
go
yeah.
up there and they had those trail signs on the corners telling you game today.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, you still see that in the gardens. You get down to.
they do that for
They
the
do, yes,
yeah.
and they do
Cardinals
that.
and all
yeah.
that.
Yeah, the Mets, they do that too.
That's so cool.
St. Lucie County.
Yeah.
hmm
Game today, tickets only $99 for a box for a
No,
general
you
admission.
can always tell it's time because you drive down Central Boulevard and the people park right there, and you can see into next to where the stadium is. So
Yes.
there's always people
Yeah.
out there throwing the ball around and or seeing who they can see. And
Yeah.
at that time of year, baseball.
The Mets and the Cardinals.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's amazing, and they're both going to be contenders for a while this year till they fall off the map.
That's it. So everybody starts with a clean
And
slate.
just so the Cubs are beating the Cardinals, that's all I care about.
Well, yeah. Well, a bunch of new MLB rules taken effect today. There's more. They're going to pay more attention to balking and more attention to the pitcher clock. Between pitches.
No,
Oh, yeah?
they won't.
So
Oh,
how
yeah.
long is there a time? I
There
didn't
could-
even know there was
always
a time.
was an unofficial kind of an idea how long it should take between pitches, but now they're going to kind of hold them to a clock because
The game length.
the game length is they're
Yeah.
losing so many viewers.
So it's like
Well-
in golf, it's like they'll come and hurry you along.
Right. Yes.
The Ranger is out there.
They've been warned.
Right.
My
That's
my job. My wife knows this. I always said, when I retire, I want to be a marshal at a golf
There you go.
course,
Yeah.
so I can tell people to hurry up, or I'm going to throw their ass off.
Nice.
You're slowing the groups down behind us, and but-
Just don't get busted for drinking and driving in your golf
well,
cart.
the most important thing, I can't get up that early. I got a neighbor of mine he goes like at 6:30 in the morning. There's people already finishing 9 holes at
Oh.
Hammock Creek when I'm leaving at 7 to come to.
When I first moved
breakfast.
here, I got a summer membership at Iron Horse down in the
Used-
of
Did you use that a lot?
I did every day. It was nice to go early in the morning. I had 9 holes in and then go right to work after that.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And then I bought a business, and that was the end of my
Yeah.
golfing.
There you go. Yeah. I came down here a 6 handicap, and I'm a plus 23
There you
now. So it's great. I'm glad I'm in Florida. And actually, today the Honda Classic starts,
Mhm.
and I've been a volunteer there twice.
Oh, have you?
I was there 2 years ago in the bear trap.
I saw something that said the final Honda Classic. Are they done?
Honda is done being a sponsor after this year.
Oh, so
after all
it'll
these
be a
years,
new tournament.
they've got
sponsor.
they've got like dozens.
Is it going to be European Kitchen and Bath?
We don't know. No. I could sponsor one hole one day
on Wednesday.
No, I could sponsor the practice tee. Yeah. All right, we got 30 of you out there hitting, but very what they offer to it costs like about $75 to be a volunteer, and you can collect your stuff or not. They give you a hat and all. They give you lots of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you go depending on what you're doing, and you go for 4 days, you get some bonus like green fees and stuff.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, to the PGA.
Yeah.
And I always, I just couldn't do it. But the last time I did it, when I filled out the form, I said that I wanted to be I don't know what I put out. And anyways, they sent it back to me and said, you're going to be in, what did they call it? It was so cool. It was like 19th hole.
Oh,
I go 19th hole. All right. I love the 19th hole. Well, it turned out to be the Bear Trap venue where this year they have it where it'll hold like 9,000 people.
Good God.
And it's surrounding the green, kind of like the waste management tournament.
Oh yeah, that's incredible. Where they they have everybody hooting and hollering.
This is the 7th. You can see them coming up on the 16th hole. Then they walk through the thing and they're on the 17th hole. And then they finish on the 18th hole. And it was, when I was there, it was pretty fun. I had a good time.
Yeah.
And it was fun, especially when you hold the little paddle up to say, please be quiet, and then I would go over to these women who were having too good a time. And I'd say, if you guys aren't quiet, I'm going to tell the police officer over there and he's going to escort you out. That was my power. Oh.
I love it.
And if I was a younger man, I would have said, if you don't watch it, I might make you have to go out with me.
That'll learn you.
But yeah, that'll learn you. That's right. I don't know, buddy. Your eyebrows are kind of bushy. Is that a unibrow, sir? No. That's my brother and I when we're together. We're the Brow Brothers. He's got one, I got the other. So sorry about that, folks. But listen, hey, we're really glad you joined us today, Ron. Ron's been on here with us a few times over the years in another venue we were doing, and I really appreciate you coming down today. I hope you feel like we didn't beat you.
Yeah.
We did you right.
It was fun, and I'm happy that you invited me. Thank you.
Well, anytime. You're one of the good guys.
Oh, thank you, John.
You bet. Really mean that. Frank,
Yes,
you
sir.
are too now that you're wearing my shirt.
So I think it's 62 now. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's great. No, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Yes. Don't forget to go see John in his new refurbished showroom there
Yeah.
in Monterey, 197 Monterey.
Yep. And we got tubs and all kinds of stuff to look at.
And give out your phone number too.
Thank you very much, Frank. I will. It is 772-221-3990. And our website is so simple and it's interactive. EuropeanSync.com. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Good night. Bye.